Welcome everyone to Water Within Astrology. My name is Carly and we are back to talk about the new moon in Cancer happening on Wednesday, June the 25th. It's happening at 6:32 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So adjust your time according to wherever you are located on the planet. We're going to get right into it because there's a lot to say. I'm also going to be repeating a lot of what I said in my last video because the last full moon that we had in Sagittarius was the first full moon where we have Jupiter in Cancer. And maybe you're not feeling super stoked about it right now, understandably so, and I'm going to tell you why. First, I just want to explain my appearance a little bit. I've got this butterfly situation. It's like a whole set going on because we are going through a deep transformation, and it feels, I think, like right now we could feel like we're in our cocoon and we want to burst out so badly, but it's so hard, and we're also like comfortable in the cocoon. And you know, this is all we've known for so long. It's so scary out there. Who knows what's going on out there? And understandably so, it is scary out there right now. Fear is one of the big Cancer themes. And so we are going through a transformation right now. What I've been saying is that we are in labor pains as we are birthing the new Earth. So that's a beautiful and amazing transformative process, and it's also really painful and crazy and trippy and disorienting, and a lot of spectrum of emotions there. And I have my flower earrings because a flower is a beautiful representation of a Cancer energy, because the flower is like the womb or the yoni, and it's open to receive. It's got this beautiful, look to it. It's open, and it's make fun of me if you want. We're talking about archetypes. Get mature, guys. And we're, with a flower, a bee comes and gets the pollen because it has so much to offer, and the pollen is then taken and used for the good in the world. So let's protect that space, but let's be open to the blessings that are coming too, because I promise you, the blessings are coming. And the last thing, I have my little shell hair pieces here. And the shell is also, one of those simple and beautiful pieces of nature that represent the divine feminine, this open, yoni-like vessel that is also directly related to the crab, which is Cancer archetype. So let's go ahead and move on from that. Just explaining this. It's so hot here. There's no way I could wear my hair down. I tried, and it was too hot. But I'm ready to give you guys this new moon reading. My belly is full. I have done all my self-care yesterday, and today I'm waking up first thing to do this for you guys. The day before the new moon. This is actually a really auspicious day that I'm doing this on. Today we have the Jupiter Cassimi, which means Jupiter and the sun are at the same point in the sky. Jupiter is being reborn. So I think that's a big reason why we have not quite felt the beneficial energies just quite yet, not fully, of Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. It means it's super, super happy there. It acts very well. It has everything that it needs to be as Jupiter as possible, which is generosity, good luck, good fortune, things falling into your lap, like divine fate coming through, and just like knowing that you're protected, knowing that you are guided, maybe having new insights about the spiritual realm, having new philosophies to explore, whatever it is. Jupiter is really happy in Cancer because Cancer is this energy that wants everyone to be taken care of. It's the mother archetype. It's Mother Earth. It's the abundance. It's the summer solstice where everything is fertile. Everything is alive. Everything is bursting with life, even. Not just alive. It's like, bursting. And it's, it's the mother, so there's this energy of like maybe babies are being born. This is going to be a really beautiful time for pregnancies and fertility. And so if you're someone who wants to get pregnant during this time, and you have, especially if you have prominent Cancer placements, this is going to be a great time for you. But also watch out if you don't want to get pregnant, because it can still happen. Especially with that square to Saturn that we're in right now. We're going to get to that. So, Jupiter in Cancer is the energy of everybody is taken care of. Everybody feels safe. Everybody is fed. Everybody has a house that they live in that's not just a house. It's somewhere they can actually be comfortable, and they can actually let their guard down, and they can actually, truly feel safe and truly feel at home and truly feel a sense of belonging. So that is what we're going for. And yes, I am aware we are not there right now. So square to Saturn, Jupiter is exactly 1 degree away from this new moon, which means it is conjunct. It means that that's a big player. It's not only a big player in general because we just had that switch, but because it's right there 1 degree away from this new moon. New moon's happening at 4 degrees Cancer. The Jupiter in Cancer is at 3 degrees. So checking out your chart to see where that's at. Those 3 bodies, Sun, Moon, Jupiter, are all 3 squaring not only Saturn in Aries, but Neptune in Aries as well. And so we had that square exacting June the 19th. So a little bit after that full moon in Sagittarius, and boy, oh boy, did I see that manifest in real time. I was sent home from a music festival for flooding on that day. So Saturn comes in with the consequences, squaring the Jupiter in Cancer. Too much water, too much, period. Like it's just that literal sometimes, most of the time actually. So that was great and horrible. And but what was crazy, and I promise this is relevant, the energy of belonging and safety and family and togetherness and joy was so prominent there, and Saturn just had to come in and ruin it all and take that shit away. And it was not cool, but I totally see how the astrology reflects what was happening. So don't give up if you're out there, if you're someone who's watching that was at Bonnaroo. Everything is working out in divine timing. Everything is working out. Promise. I promise we'll have another shot at that feeling. And we all deserve that feeling. Excuse me. Especially during that time with the full moon, it was really volatile, and it was very tumultuous the way the world was erupting in the politics and the war and the violence. So Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, which is that Mars-ruled warlike sign that is, it doesn't give no shits. It doesn't give no, pardon my language, but, it does not give a crap about your feelings. It is doing what it needs to do to get what it wants. It's, it's not always that selfish. It's not always that brutal, but it can definitely be. And that is what we are seeing in the war stage that we are in the midst of, whether we like it or not, whether we want to escape from it or not, because let's remember, this year until July next year, we are working with how are we relating to our reality because of the North Node in Pisces. How are we escaping? How are we using substances to numb ourselves? How are we relating to our spiritual essence? Because I think at this point, we for the most part, are all coming to terms with the fact that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. I think we can all agree upon that. And if you're still someone who wants to deny the spiritual aspect of life, how's that working for you? How happy are you? How, yeah, denial is a powerful drug. So I'm not here to tell anybody anything, except for I'm just the messenger, so don't shoot me. Yeah, we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and so it can be rough. When reality gets rough, we want to escape. And what we're really escaping to is truly this, wanting to reconnect with the divine that we come from, wanting to reconnect with that feeling of not having the weight of reality on us. So we really need to just pay attention to what's happening in our lives. If you're someone who's struggling with addiction, if you're struggling with overeating right now, that's going to be a big Jupiter and Cancer thing. Bed rotting is going to be a thing. There's a difference between bed rotting and resting because you know your body needs rest. If you think about the word depressed, what does that sound like? Deep rest, period. If you are depressed, you need deep rest. And there's a difference, like I said, between bed rotting and giving yourself a bunch of shame about resting and about, listening to your body and feeling worthless because you're not working. That's the opposite of Cancer, is that Capricorn, which we're going to be having a Capricorn full moon next. And that's this overworking workaholic. All of my self-worth is tied up in working, in my status around work, and about how much I can prove myself and how much I can, say, look, I'm still climbing the mountain even though I'm tired and even though I'm miserable and even though I've given all of, made all these sacrifices in my life that actually really make me lose quality of life at the end of the day, So with Cancer, we're being asked to look at what our quality of life is, and take rest when we need it, because as a collective, we have a very toxic relationship to rest, a toxic relationship to the feminine, anything that's feminine. Rest is considered a feminine and yin and passive and receptive energy, versus the masculine energy. We've been taught that the feminine energy, there's no room for that. We always have to be grinding. We always have to be girl bossing. We always have to be, no matter what your gender is. Like, that's just our society. We live in a patriarchal society, which is overly masculinated, and we have to balance now that we've reached. Who knows, maybe this isn't the breaking point for all of us, but for a lot of us, this is a breaking point of enough is enough. We have to figure out how to balance ourselves, even if it's not manifesting in the greater collective, just yet. I believe it truly will, especially because that square to Saturn is like breaking down old structures, and it's bringing in new structures, because we all have gotten to the point where we see this isn't working, this isn't sustainable. These leaders, especially that we have, where they are, trying to sell public lands. They're, breaking up families to try to divide and conquer. They are removing suicide hotlines for LGBTQ plus, all of these things that are being taken, and they're having. They can't really touch us. They're not really here right next to us, but they are taking away things that they know mean a lot to us, in order to make us not feel safe, to make us not feel like we have a choice in the matter. This is not a democracy. Anyways, I'm not going to get too political with it, but just know that the square to Saturn is restructuring, and it is big stuff. And unfortunately, that Aries does mean war. But what if we fought against the war? What if we decided, because the square to Saturn is squaring Jupiter, what if we decided to completely not participate and become passive and become feminine and lean into that energy versus that overly masculinated anger? And please don't feel like it's not a time to feel angry. If you're not angry, you're not paying attention, to be honest. So there is a place for anger, but lashing out and using violence and retaliating with war, is that the answer? I'm not saying don't protest. I'm not saying don't take action. I'm just saying, what do we as individuals need to keep our nervous systems stable, to ground ourselves? Because that Aries is fire, that Cancer is water. We're not really seeing that much Earth. We've got Uranus in Taurus, and we've got Venus in Taurus. So actually, Venus in Taurus right now is approaching Uranus. And what happens when a Taurus is the bull? What happens when a bull gets angry? It's a raging bull, and it's unstoppable because it's this huge beast of an animal, and it will take you down if you don't, if you do it wrong. So Venus is not all love and light right now. Venus is a morning star. She's Pallas Athena. She's the war goddess when she's the morning star. And pair that with the Taurus, especially approaching Uranus, she's not going to take shit. She's not going to take it lying down, So, she will fight for what she loves. And she is a powerful force to be reckoned with. So let's let that be also a grounding thing. I know it's hard to say that with Uranus there. Uranus is about shakeups and revolutions and blah, rip your eyes open to see the reality. So, yeah, it's not a great time, especially South Node in Virgo. It's very our routines are thrown off. Maybe we don't have a plan. Maybe there's just a lot of uncertainty and unknown question marks out there. What the North Node North Node in Pisces is ultimately teaching us is to trust, to learn how to trust in the process. And guess what? That's not easy. It's really not easy right now. It's really hard, and I think that's kind of the whole thing, right? It wouldn't be a test of faith if it was easy. And, depending on how you relate to this thing that we all call God or the Spirit or whatever, I don't believe it's this thing that is always testing us. It's presenting us with opportunities always, even when squares are involved. They're challenges that ultimately lead to growth, opportunity, so on and so forth. We're being molded and grinded and formed into the highest version of ourselves. So let this challenge be an opportunity for us to go deeper into our spiritual practices so that we can be grounded through those, go deeper into our ability to self-regulate. So the thing with Cancer, it's the mother archetype and it's also the baby archetype. It's the womb, it's the breasts, it's the belly. So there's two sides to every sign, like I've always said. The mother is like the evolved, healed version of Cancer. It wants everyone to be taken care of, but it's not over-mothering, right? It's not hovering mother. It's not annoying, or it's just, I will take care of you, and you're safe here. And then the baby is, this thing that cries all the time, Not trying to say anything about crying. Crying is healthy right now and it's going to happen. So just let it happen. Let that be a release. I'll get to that. The Cancer baby is like, I need my mother. I'm so dependent. I'm clingy. I'm unable to take care of myself. I'm unable to self-soothe and self-regulate. We got to figure out how to work with that wherever we are and get real with ourselves. That square to Saturn is getting real. The square to Neptune, I'm just going to briefly say, the Neptune is that idealist. And the Neptune in Aries is like, we're starting a new chapter. First sign of the zodiac is Aries. We're starting a new chapter and we're able to perhaps bring that idealist reality or idealist idea of reality into reality. Neptune and Saturn together in Aries. The square, if I didn't already say this, the square I think will be letting up around July 12th or so because we have that Jupiter Cassimi today. We will see it when a planet goes Cassimi, it is flooded out by the light of the sun and you can't see it in the sky. And so once July 12th rolls around, we'll be able to see Jupiter again in the sky. And that should bring relief. The square is already separating, so it's getting more and more. But those outer planets move slow. So just let's just be here now and let's work with what we got. Like let's not avoid and not go it's almost over. Like let's be here now and figure out how to deal with the challenges, how to work with the challenges and rise to the occasion. Easier said than done. I know it's rough out here, guys. But I promise you things are changing and they are, like I said, we're in the middle of these labor pains for New Earth. And I know I've been saying that for a while too, but I told you these planets move slow. It's fine. We're doing it. Even if we don't see it in our lifetime, at least we know that we played our part in order to be part of the changing of the tides. I always say this. If you think about a whirlpool, like if you played whirlpool when you were little in a little, like maybe smaller pool, you could walk around with your friends, all of us walking around in the same direction, and we were like trudging through the water just to like get the water to start churning in that direction that we're walking. And then once we got it going enough and the water was really starting to go, then you could let your feet off the ground and the water would carry you, right? I think right now we're at that point where people have, at least I hope most people have stopped like marching in the wrong direction. And now we've got our feet up and it's carrying us and we're like, wait, this is just kind of like an autopilot thing where maybe we don't want to go this way anymore. And what happens when you put your feet down and you try to start walking in the opposite direction? It's really hard. The water's fighting against you and you have to really, really work hard to try to turn that tide. And I think that's where a lot of us are, especially if you're someone who's watching this video. I would imagine you are someone who's trying to turn that tide. So applauding you, keep going, keep being amazing, keep following that soul compass of, you know that you're here to change things. And that's amazing. Okay, so what I was going to say earlier about the crying. Emotions, first of all, let's think about that word, emotion. The word ocean is in that word. It's not the same spelling, but that's how I spell it nowadays because it always just makes sense. If you think about the ocean as this big, huge, vast body of water, if you think how underneath the surface of the water, that's Pisces. Pisces is the water that is eternal, it's vast, it's huge, it's unconditional, it's unshakable, it's that higher octave of love. And Cancer is the waves on the surface of the water, and sometimes storms come, and sometimes tidal waves and sometimes whirlpools and sometimes, all this stuff is happening on the surface of the ocean. But the ocean is still the ocean. And these waves and things that happen on the top of the water are all transient and impermanent. If we can all take this time right now during this new moon, this amazing portal, summer solstice, Jupiter Cazimi, new moon, all of this happening at once. This is some powerful energy. If we can take that energy and the emotions that are coming up and we can channel them and funnel them into manifesting the new world, like our broken hearts can be like a testimony to like changing the vibration of what we know is not right. What we know is that can be powerful magic. That is the most powerful magic, actually, when we use those emotions into our, spells, manifesting, whatever you want to call it. It's real, and that's our magic, and that's, I think, the best opportunity that we can take right now with the energies that we're being presented with. Apologies. So, yeah, the ocean doesn't identify itself with the waves. The ocean is still the ocean. It doesn't get caught up in the waves, and it doesn't it knows that those waves are going to come and go, and it knows that that's the nature of being existing. And that is truly the universal truth, the only universal truth that any of us can actually truly acknowledge and hold on to, is that reality is impermanent. Everything that we experience is impermanent, and that can be very helpful to know, and it also can be very anxiety inducing to know. Are we clinging or are we averting? Are we craving to have more of the good things and to want to hold on to something that we know is impermanent? Or are we wanting to get away from something that's not good, that's also impermanent? Can we rest in that middle ground of knowing everything is impermanent? And yes, there's a lot there. I love that philosophy, though. It's from the Vipassana meditation. If you would like to know more about that, I will put the link below for that. And it's a free 10-day silent meditation retreat that I would 100%, that's like so Cancer new moon, actually. It's like, yes, you're escaping from reality for a little bit, but like in a good way, right? You're like going off to like be still and to hear yourself, to tap in with your body. Cancer rules the body. The moon rules the body. Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon is this celestial body that's always changing. It never stops changing. And so the Cancer archetype is about being flexible, about understanding that we all go through phases. Sometimes we feel happy, sometimes we feel sad. That's okay. It doesn't mean you have to slap a diagnosis on yourself. I think that's a whole nother subject, so I won't get into that. But yeah, with the Jupiter in Cancer, we are going to be paying attention to the moon and the nature of the moon. And we are going to have to figure out how to deal with that. Figuring out how to deal with our relationship to the feminine, to the passive energies, to the, the yin and the receptive. If you're not receptive, you can't get the benefits. And if you're in fight or flight all the time, you aren't able to become receptive, no matter how much you want to try to convince yourself that you're there. Cancer is very fertile, and that can mean babies, and it can mean, fertility, but it also is like fertile energy with creativity. Moon is very creative. The moon is very intuitive. It's very mystical. It's very, so like maybe there's some psychic abilities that are awakening, that you need to take your time to stay at home and to work with. I was going to do this video outside, and it's so dang hot that I couldn't do it. And I thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty volatile out there. It's pretty, harsh. And that's okay. It's also okay to know that, like, you have a home. Hopefully we all have homes that we can go to, and we can feel safe, and we can, retreat from the harshness that can be there. Not to the point of complete isolation. That's where it can go too far. Cancer is the crab. It's going inside of its shell. It can be really shy. It can be timid. It can be afraid. And that fear can keep them paralyzed from ever really truly living. And that's so sad. So we have to balance with everything, but it's okay to stay inside and to let yourself rest and to let yourself feel the things that you are feeling, because you're totally valid. And if no one's ever told you that you're valid in what you feel, you are valid. I think the South Node in Virgo has a tendency to over-victimize itself as well, so we have to be careful about that. But who isn't a victim of something, like, at this point, having compassion for all beings, underline all, that's going to be where we're at with Jupiter in Cancer. And that means everybody's taken care of. That means everybody's fed. Like I said, compassion for all beings is what we're learning through all of this. And that is rough. North Node in Pisces is asking us, it's begging us to forgive what has hurt us. And if we don't feel the pain that we carry, we're never going to be able to get to that point of forgiveness, because we're still denying that it's there. We're still pushing it down. We're still yada yada. Feel it to heal it. Forgiveness is tricky, and Cancer is really nostalgic, so is Pisces. We could be stuck in the past and looking back at what happened and playing ourselves in loops around what happened and thinking about how it was so much better then, and we're never going to get back there, and this and that. It's forgiveness is going to be the key to moving forward with the North Node in Pisces. So can we truly at least work with it? It's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen overnight. Have grace for yourself. Have compassion for yourself in all of the volatility with your emotions. Cancer is sensitive. It might not even be that big of a deal to most people, but if it's a big deal to you, you're valid. Let yourself be sensitive. Let yourself be soft. Let yourself come out of that shell. Find a place where it's safe for you to come out of that shell. Group therapy, or, women's retreats, or, any kind of retreat, of course, like healing retreat. I really, truly think the Vipassana meditation is like the most perfect thing I could think of for this new moon. Also, baths. Let's talk about baths and how amazing and healing they are. If there's a bathhouse or like a hot springs somewhere near where you live, that would be ideal. But if you just have a bath at your house, the bath is something that actually simulates the womb. And that's why it's so soothing to us, because, it's this warm water and we're submerged and we can just like relax and be, and all of a sudden the whole world is gone because all that exists is you in the bath. And, self-care is not selfish. That's a big one. So yeah, I think I pretty much covered it all. We're going to see very soon the planet Uranus moving into Gemini on July the 7th. I haven't quite looked at exactly what date that full moon is yet. I think it's probably right before the full moon. And that's going to be something we talk about in the next video. So, Gemini placements, you just moved from having Jupiter in your sign, the best planet ever, in your sign for a year. And now you got Uranus. So, hang tight. We're almost there. I don't know where we're going, but we're going. And we're all going together. Guess what? You're not alone. You've never been alone. Don't let yourself ever get caught in that, in that like feeling like you are truly alone and no one understands and all this stuff. I know it's hard, but let's pull a card. I'm getting pretty good at shuffling. So let's see if this will work. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, one's good. For the sake of time, get you guys on your way. What card do we need? I'm using that Oceanic Tarot again like I did in the last video. Also, apologies for the microphone mishap last time. I was clearly slacking on that. Okay, so we have the King of Cups again. That's what we got last time. Oh, and we have the Chariot on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so that's very interesting. King of Cups is the king of emotions, and he is a very compassionate king, and we deserve a compassionate king. Do we not? I actually meant to say one more thing about Mars in Virgo. Mars in Virgo is super stoked about being there because Virgo wants to get shit done. Mars wants to get shit done, but Virgo's our south node right now, so it might feel like pressing on the gas and the brakes all at the same time, and wanting to make a plan, but really not being able to make a plan. It could just be like we need new self-care routines every day because of all the Cancer energy. The Cancer's a stellium, period. We're looking at Cancer energy for this new moon. It's not just a new moon. It's Sun, Moon, Mercury, Jupiter. 4 equals stellium. That's the key thing. Keep coming back to that. So I think that Mars in Virgo is saying let's really start doing just something small every day. Virgo likes small details. Even just something small every day. For me, I've started just like having tea every morning. And I would have tea, every now and then before, but now it's like every morning I'm having tea. So, little things like that. The card is Understanding of the King of Cups. And let's just go ahead and come back to it. I know I just got it. It's funny that I just got that. Like, we just pulled that for the last one. Of course we did. Here we go. The king has integrity, honor, and sensitivity and is devoted to his friends, his family, and his career. When he makes a commitment, he is loyal for life. He may be distant at times, since he feels everything deeply, but may not show it. As the U card in the reading, this king indicates that you should balance empathy with others and with fairness to yourself. This also could represent the ideal male partner. Follow your emotions, but don't feel you have to explain your feelings. Trust that you are right. Fairness, empathy, sensitivity, loyalty, maturity, commitment, honor. We deserve a King of Cups here in the United States. That's all I'll say about that. And so the Chariot obviously is about movement. It's about, traveling. I don't know what happened for you during that Sagittarius new moon or full moon, but Sagittarius rules travel. Maybe something like what happened to me happened to you and you went on a trip and it didn't work out. Something happened, and you just didn't get it didn't work out. Whatever you had plans to do. So maybe there's something else that's coming soon that is more in alignment with what you need in self-care. Like, maybe it's a little bit more chill of a trip instead of a music festival. Maybe it's a trip to the woods for camping, whatever it is. It says the charioteer is the traveling warrior of the tarot. He holds a trident to guide him on his journey, and 2 seahorses carry him forward. He needs only one hand on the reins to control their direction. His willpower and determination propel him onward and keep his chariot moving in the right direction. In this seashell chariot, he is protected. So, Cancer. The shell also symbolizes his personality, or the outer persona he shows to the world. It's time to make serious progress. Travel is favored now, as are moves connected with work. This card is also a general sign that every aspect of your life will surge forward. However, balance is necessary, and you may feel the need to treat people around you with care, as this is a card of energy rather than sensitivity. This card reveals that good timing and being aware of your ego will be essential if you're going to keep your show on the road. An additional meaning of the card is acquiring a new car or another vehicle. It's time actively to move forward with your plans. Keep that ego in check when you need to, and enjoy this time of power and motivation. So yeah, it's like very Aries, very penetrative energy. Journeys, determination, willpower, progress, friction, guidance, and protection. Take that for what you will, but I really truly think this time is a time of rest, and I think that time of rest is a necessary part of moving us forward on our journey, and it will prove to be beneficial in the long run. That's Saturn. It's not great right now, but you're working for something in the long term. So just trust that too. Okay, we've got the M rune. Horse, twin forces, trust, faith, companionship. AWAS. Trust, faith, period. Yep. How can we have trust and faith during this time of true uncertainty, of, volatility, of pain? It's painful. And you're valid. And it's not forever. And I know that sounds like a cop-out. It's not about avoiding it. It's about knowing and trusting that this too shall pass. So cliche, but whatever. I love you so much. I will see you again in 2 weeks. And if you would love to have a reading with me, please comment below. Send me a message on Instagram or Facebook if you are interested. And if you haven't already subscribed and liked this video, please do so, or send it to somebody that you think it might resonate with.